There. My name is Daniel Burgess, and today I would like to discuss something that some people might feel very strongly about in both directions. What if I told you that you could play a role in saving the lives of billions? Billions. That's a big number, billions. You're probably thinking, what is this guy talking about? Well, in this case, I'm not talking about human lives. I'm talking about the lives of billions of animals across the world. Every 10 seconds, we kill around 24,000 animals worldwide to process in some form or another for food. That equates to 7.5 animals over the course of a year. Now, I don't know about you, but those numbers are astounding. I mean, that's astronomical. So, what can we do about it? Let me start by saying I will not be suggesting that we all become vegans or vegetarians today. I love meat. Hamburgers taste good. Steak tastes good. Bacon tastes good. What I will be endorsing is something relatively new: meat alternatives or substitutes. And in particular, I'll be talking mostly about Beyond Meats and Impossible Foods. These are two of the groundbreaking companies in the emergency alternative meats market at this time. But before we get to those products, let's discuss a few things about meat itself. What is it about meat that we need? Is it the texture or is it the taste that we love so much? Well, the easy answer to that question is yes and yes, it's both. Texture of food is a bigger deal than you might think. Surely you've heard someone say that they can't eat something like mushrooms or oysters because they just don't like the texture. Well, that applies to eating meat as well. There's something about the feel of meats like chicken or steak when chewing that is satisfying to most non vegetarians, and that's according to some surveys. These new meat alternatives promise their product will look and feel like meat when you're chewing it, and the majority of the testing would actually confirm that. And of course, taste is paramount and possibly the most important factor in today's market. There have been plenty of meat alternatives that have failed the proverbial taste test in the past: tofu, veggie burgers, soy burgers, black bean burgers. Those are just a few that come to mind, but the meat alternatives of today have a secret weapon, thanks to science. It's called heme iron, and it can only be found in nature in the blood and muscle tissue of animals. Heme iron is why you have to order a temperature on a steak at a restaurant like medium rare or well done. Now, scientists have found a way to synthesize heme iron in a lab. And voila, now your Impossible Foods or Beyond Meat's burger has to have the blood cooked out of it, just like a steak. These are a few of the reasons we enjoy eating meat and a few potential hurdles that a new industry will certainly have to overcome. And now that we've discussed why we want meat, we should probably examine why we shouldn't want meat. One of the biggest reasons is the environment. We use an enormous amount of resources to raise the animals we eat. There are land, water, and feed resources to consider. It requires 10 calories of feed to produce every single 1 calorie of meat. And the lack of freshwater resources now and in the future is well documented. But it's the necessary land resources that really get your attention on this topic. If the whole world ate as much meat as the top 10 meat eating countries in the world, it would require all the habitable land on Earth to raise the animals necessary to feed the world. And as the world starts to get more and more wealthy, the demand for meat is only going to rise. Studies show that if the population and demand for meat continues to rise at this current pace, we will have to produce as much meat over the next 30 years as we have produced in all of recorded human history. That is a mind-blowing stat, and one that leads me to believe that we cannot sustain the status quo as far as meat and the environment are concerned. But it's not just the environment that is the only issue. Animal rights lovers could jump in here and bring up the 7.5 billion animals that we slaughter every year for food. And they would have a good point. Any number that gets into the billions will catch your eye. But there are other issues also. There are many, many claims of abuse and mistreatment on some of these big animal producing facilities, and if you've ever seen a documentary about one, you would almost surely agree. And then there's the potential health concerns associated with some meats. Chicken, turkey, fish, they are widely considered healthy, but red meat, which is the meat Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat are targeting, specifically hamburger meat, have been vilified because studies say they cause cardiovascular diseases, cancer. I mean, those are concerns that could be eliminated with these alternative meats that are made wholly from plants. Now, we've talked about a lot of things, but we haven't even talked about the products yet. There are two products that are making a big push to get the industry started right now. I've mentioned them, Beyond Meats and Impossible Foods. For these alternative meats to really get a foothold in the market, they'll need to prove that this is not just another food fad and that their products are viable choice among consumers. And they're starting to make strides in that direction. Both have obtained deals with major fast food chains, and industry experts suspect that this is just the beginning of those deals. Beyond Meats can be found at Carl's Jr., Del Taco, and Qdoba, while Impossible Foods burgers are offered at places like Burger King and White Castle. So, the next time you're at one of those places that I just named, do a cow or a chicken or a pig a favor and go out on a branch and try something new. Try an alternative meat option like the Impossible Burger at Burger King and see for yourself what you think. You might just be surprised. Thanks for listening. Have a nice day.